When someone commits a crime or a heinous act or just anything we consider inconsiderate, a lot of people tend to question the perpetrator's mental state or upbringing or just their overall profile. But what if I told you that perpetrator is a victim of circumstance like all of us? As I continue to emphasize how we didn't choose any of the fundamental things that shape our human being, like our genetics, our predispositions, our psychological makeup, and experiences as children, it'll be almost cognitive dissonance on my part to think all of our actions and experiences are the result of free will. Even our environment and the way our parents and caretakers raised us as infants into early childhood was completely out of our hands. Yet all these factors seriously color our perspectives and how we're able to deal with ourselves and everyone around us. By the time we reach an age of reasoning and into adulthood, the constructs we'll have to go at life with have already been built. For many, that includes a lot of damage as well. The damage that will have to be continually overcome just to be compatible with society and social norms. And while some children face more negative experiences than others, that still doesn't factor in the biological and psychological makeup of each individual, which makes one more or less equipped to process experiences in the best ways possible. Which is why, when someone does something egregious or something I simply disagree with, it'll be short sighted of me to compare my morality compass or mental fortitude as simply superior or stronger than theirs. I didn't choose my psychological makeup or upbringing, nor would I be dealing with the same perspectives or struggles as that other person for those very same reasons. Some people are simply what society and even psychological professionals would call mentally ill, quote unquote, which can be a relative term and on a spectrum when one thinks deeply enough about it. But for some people, they simply have urges and reoccurring thoughts that I may not have myself that they have to continually deal with in order to be compatible with individuals and society. For some, every day they wake up and not hurt themselves or someone else, it's a small victory against small impulses ingrained in them from biology and or upbringing. Most times they know their thoughts and urges are wrong or irrational and not act on them. A lot of people suffering with these destructive urges can surprisingly go a whole lifetime and never act on them. While unfortunately, some do act on these negative urges in varying frequencies. And it also takes one incident to severely negatively impact their lives or the lives of others. We may find that they were exhibiting extreme mental strength the times they were resisting their urges. As a matter of fact, even more mental strength than most people not suffering from their type of mental afflictions on the daily. But again, it only takes one time to cause a chain reaction of negativity. This is why therapy is recommended for those who feel they might be dealing with uncommon or destructive impulses. Therapy can help in giving these individuals ways of coping with their impulses without acting on them. Therapy can teach them more positive ways to handle their urges through perspective and helpful training habits. And while therapy should always be sought, even for those that do not have uncommon impulses, it doesn't necessarily change who we are or how we're wired or eliminate the impulses altogether. It more so teaches ways to cope with the urges in a less destructive manner. This is where religion can play a role in the lives of many. Now, religion should not be recommended in lieu of therapy or behavioral or psychological help, but it can provide a benefit. A lot of people seek or adhere to a religion for different reasons that often overlap. But I'll focus on the ones who find their religion to be a way of coping and providing hope in their lives. Most religions have doctrines and teachings of morality and disciplined routine. Regardless of the theology, providing just those two things helps to give many people with struggles of the mind something to adhere to behave in ways that can help them resist destructive impulses or discipline otherwise incompatible behavior. And to take it a step further, many religious adherents believe their religious faith not only provides behavioral guidelines, but actual transformative impact of mind and psyche as well. They believe, unlike therapy, that mostly helps individuals deal with their negative impulses better, believers will tell you that their religion and faith by their deity has the power of transformation, of completely renewing a person's psychological wiring and curing, quote unquote, their mental afflictions altogether. We can argue that such beliefs and claims are debatable at best, especially since we've seen the hordes of religious believers and leaders throughout history and with our own eyes that have displayed no better character or behavior than the human society at large. And we've also seen the stagnation on critical thinking and lack of perspective and mental growth it can inflict. But it'll be an argument to deny it doesn't keep many individuals in behavioral check, quote unquote, who might probably be less inclined to keep their destructive impulses in check otherwise. Even if we reduce it to a placebo effect and argue that their more disciplined behavior comes at the expense of other things meaningful towards growth. Sometimes the end can justify the means. I've personally known individuals who I knew, if it wasn't for some type of religious adherence, would be scourges to their communities. And when they'd have conversations with me expressing questions or doubts about their own faith, rather than encourage them to explore their reasons for doubt to try find higher reasoning, I'd admittedly hesitate because I knew if this person dropped their faith, then what's to keep their behavior in line and from them being a scourge to society? I've debated with myself on this, so I'm open to constructive criticisms. Key word being constructive. But with free will being minimal, if existent at all, in an existence we didn't choose, and with rules and limitations we didn't agree to, and with so many suffering the effects of a world they didn't ask to be in, judgment should be the first sentiment to be withheld.